yourself, but now you're doing real estate where you go along with people, and then you're managing a hotel. So that doesn't really go in. How did you evolve to get to that point, man?
No, I had to. It was just one of those things. I had to just break out of this because it was more. I was an introvert just by choice. It's like I just don't want to talk. Like I just don't. Just let me. I just like being in my own space, with myself and just whatever. But getting into the hotel industry, that's done. You cannot be a clam in the hotel industry, in hospitality, period.
Right.
I mean, you got to be personable. You got to be able to talk, and especially in real estate, where networking is a big part of it. You got to be able to meet people and tell them what you do and find out what they do and stuff like that. So being in the hotel industry has actually helped a lot with the real estate because I had to break out of my shell in hospitality and start talking to people, and that skill has translated to the real estate.
When you say you're too comfortable, and you say it's not a good thing, why do you think?
Well, I feel like once you get comfortable in a situation, you may not want to leave to be uncomfortable. It takes you being uncomfortable sometimes to get into the right situation. And so where I'm at now. I've been in the hospitality industry, in the hotel industry for 9 years now. It'll be 10 next year. And so it's easy for me. I like it. And a part of me wants to get out of it because I have been in it so long. But then I go back and forth like, was it a bad thing that you've been in this for so long? I mean, stability is not a bad thing. No. We think about, you've been in a job
but being stagnant,
for 3 years. Well, that's too long.
Being stagnant is a bad thing,
yeah.
Right?
That's right. That's the thing. And so you got to find the balance of, well, is it stability or is it, being stagnant? What is it? So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
What did Luis say? Something about water? Water that becomes stagnant. I don't know. It's it goes bad or something. Whatever. I don't know what it was. It was like water needs to run.
Yeah. I remember.
Something like that. So
I agree with that.
Yeah, because and I agree with it too. That so people get into a certain place at work, right? They work somewhere. Next thing you know what I mean? You're like, oh, why am I gonna leave? Because and a lot of people look at the starting pay, right? So if they're making this amount of money here, what will I make if I leave? But it's it's not. They shouldn't look at that. They should look at what are you gonna make if you leave in the future, right? Because how most people when we used to work, it's funny how we used to work for whatever $6 an hour, whatever we were making, right? The minimum wage, and then you would always ask, hey, anybody hiring me? Anybody hiring? People trying to get when we're younger, when you're 18, 20, everyone's always asking that. You know anybody who's hiring? And then you're trying to go from $8 to $9. You got somebody that's paying 10, right? And so people are trying to look for the starting pay. And a lot of people won't leave their job because the next job starts less, but maybe that job can get you higher quicker. You know what I mean? So it's like a game, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. And with me, it's just this is a lot of people's careers. This is where a lot of people would want to be where I am.
Correct.
As far as the position that I'm in, I had to work to get to where I'm at. And it's this, if I wanted this to be my career, I'm there. I'm already in there. So it's why do I leave something that's good to go when it's good to go? But I'm also, my mindset is not that. I want to keep moving. I want to keep doing new things, better things, elevating, whatever. So
and that's healthy. That's right now. That's healthy that you think like that, because I feel like I have that same, maybe that's why we're, such good friends. I think I have that same mentality. Yeah, I'm here. And yeah, someone probably wants to be there and is probably jealous that they're not at that spot, but I want more. And for some reason, I don't know, maybe that's us, or not everyone does this, but we want more. You know what I mean? We want more. Right. That's cool. I made this, but I could be making more, or I could be doing more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's healthy though. I think that's okay to think like that.
Yeah, it is. And another thing with me is, my hours are kind of all over the place with the hotel. It's just the nature. It's the nature of the industry. It's a 24-hour business, and somebody got to be there all the time. And if you got employees who don't show up, you got to be there. It's just, it is what it is. So I have my friends. You guys go on bike rides and everything, and I miss out sometimes because I am working.
You miss
so
out.
That's one of the things. I miss out on a ton of stuff, and that's one of the reasons why I want to get out, because it's this is cool, but I don't want to work Sunday morning. It's football on. It's things going on. I don't want to work Saturday night.
Saturday night?
My boy, bro.
Yeah, playing poker,
if I want to take something, I can't. It's not such a big deal that I miss out on, weekend activities, but it's just I'm missing out on more than that. I'm missing out on things going on with my son, with my family, stuff like that. Thank God I get holidays off, because I would be out 1,000% if I get holidays off. Thanksgiving and Christmas, I need those.
So what's it going to take for you to what are you gonna do, man? What's your plan then? You know what I mean? Because we can just talk about that we don't like where we're at, but what's your plan?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you have a
I just
plan?
got
Are
to get
you
more.
brainstorming? What's up?
Yeah. So I'm getting more involved in the real estate because that's where I need to go. That's where I want to go. That's the route that I want to
That's
go.
where you
I
want to
want to
be,
do
right?
that.
Like you're 24/7
That's where I want to be.
real estate. Yeah.
100%. And then want to start getting into investing, with the family and starting that. So we're gonna work on it. We're working on it.
Hey, it's what's it called? Life's not a what's it called? It's not a sprint, right? It's a marathon. So the marathon,
Yeah,
the
here's my thing.
marathon continues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, here's my thing. People say life is short. You got to do. Life is long. It's gonna be a long time. You got some time.
It's
You got
life.
time.
Yeah, it's long and short, right? It's short for
Yeah.
it's short if you're like tripping and worrying about little things. Like to me, it's like, man, it's too short for that. You know what I mean? But it's
Right.
long as far as like take your time, you're gonna get there. You know what I mean? Like you don't, and I think there's like a thing I talk to my friend all the time, and he says that I think most millionaires are 50 years old or something like that. There's like a age where millionaires are like 50, I think. Don't quote me, I don't even know the answer. I don't have a producer here to get me on the YouTube screen, but most hey PD, put it on. No. So there's most millionaires are 50. And I also heard another thing that most millionaires are married. See, that's like another thing, right? So it's like a lot of people want to grind this out 21-year-old millionaire. Like, bro, the 20-year-old millionaires that we know are playing basketball, or you know what I mean? Or they're playing baseball, football, soccer, right? So, I mean, let's be real. I mean, how many 20-year-old millionaires do you know are self-made millionaires in their 20s? I mean, come on, man. Like, we're not going to make the new Facebook.
Not many. Yeah.
I'm not going to make the new MySpace. You know what I mean? So it's a marathon.
Yeah.
It's a marathon. And like you said, if you got the plans and you're working towards it, I know a lot of people that at least they have that mentality. You have it. I think I have it. I try to associate my people with people. I try to associate myself with people that have that mentality that like where they're at is okay, but they want more. You know what I mean? And it's like it's not even a greed thing. I think it's just like you want to like accomplish as much as you can. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know what's his name, man. His first name's Les. I forgot. Oh man, I gotta look it up. But big time motivational speaker, and he talks about like when we're not alive anymore, right? Will our ghost be looking over at our body and like telling us, hey, like you didn't get to where you're supposed to be. I told you to, get to this point. You know what I mean? Like, is the universe gonna pretty much regret, right, putting you here because you didn't, meet your potential? You know what I'm saying? Like, where you know what I'm saying? So like, don't get stuck where you're at. You know what I mean? Because it's okay. Like, I think it was an older generation, like our parents, where it was like looking for those 30, 40-year careers, and that was it. Like they're just gonna work at this company, whatever it may be, and then retire from there, and then you're done. But I think it's changed. I don't think it's a bad thing that people want to move and change careers every 5 to 10 years.
And I think I read something where it's like millennials, they don't stay in jobs more than 2 years, like the majority of them. It's like after 2 years, they're on to the next.
So, I mean, I don't know, man. And I always look at that too, right? There's so many jobs out there, right? People can get jobs all over the place. It's like, what makes someone stay so long? And then what makes someone leave so quick? You know what I mean? Like, but that all goes back to the housing market. We talked about it before, man. Like when this whole thing started to buy homes, I forgot when this happened. It was like at least 50 years ago or more. When, the banks started selling these homes, right? They started buying these land, land plots, right? And saying like, okay, we're going to put like 50 houses here. They call them cookie cutter, right? Cookie cutter homes. Boom, here's the homes. And then they put you in this loan. How long are the loans for? 30 years.
30.
And how long is your career supposed to last? 30 years, right? So like
30 years.
They pretty much tie you down like that, right? They're like, hey, get this home because you know what? There's like these milestones you got to reach, right? You got to get married, boom. You got to have kids, boom. You got to have a house. Was it house? 1.5 kids in a home, right? And like a white picket fence. And then, they're selling that like that American dream. And so the people get stuck in this like home. And it's good to have a home. It's accomplishment. But then that kind of takes away your wings to go and like try to find new things to do, right? Because you kind of always meet your mortgage. You know what I mean? You got to stay at this position for
Not everyone is supposed to have to buy a home. Not everybody wants to buy a home. That's not a good idea for a lot of people. But it is like like you said, it's like a social milestone. It's like, well, you're 30 years old. Well, you got a house, right? You got kids, like and you start to be like, whoa, should I buy a house? Do I need to buy a house? Like, am I getting to that age where I need to buy a house? Like, people are gonna look at me funny, but You know, so it's just like that kind of like a social pressure thing. But like, you don't need to buy a house. You should. I think you should. I think it's a good idea. But
I think
I
it's
get it.
I think it's definitely like, I don't know. I listened to a bunch of those guys, Grant Cardone, and the speaker I was talking about was Les Brown, so you gotta look him up. But the
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I know that.
yeah, Les Brown, right? He talks about like, are your ghosts gonna be like looking over you and be like, hey man, you did not get what you're supposed to be, man. Like you didn't do half the things we told you to do.
Yeah.
Speaking of like Grant Cardone, these other guys, like even Gary Vee, like they tell you like, oh, buying a home, right, is going to stop you from like actually getting to where you want to be, right? And a lot of these rich people that they're on YouTube and do all these videos. If you like listen to them, like they have $500,000. They even said like, my dream was not to buy a home. My dream was to have this business and this like freedom, right? So they use that money to start their business instead of just getting a home, right? So like everybody has their different path, you know what I mean? And so like,
right.
Because if you buy a home at that point, like you're like, first of all, you're telling yourself, I'm going to stay in this neighborhood, you know what I mean? Which is okay.
Sure.
But that's why like millennials are saying like, a lot of people are like, they're okay with renting. They're okay with renting.
Yeah, they are. And that's one of the things that I try and tell people about renting is, as far as rent control goes, it doesn't exist, in some areas. So your rent is going up. It's going up every year. It's not going up, your mortgage. So it's just something to think about.
Well, your salary is not going up either. Yeah. Okay, so.
Well, you're saying, well, right.
Well, your mortgage, you're right. The mortgage doesn't go up. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it doesn't go up, right? You're right. It's fixed. Yeah.
No. Your rent is 1,000% going up every year. I had an apartment in the Thomas, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, maybe a little longer. It was like $750 a month. That same apartment, which I don't think they've done anything to, is now like $1,400, $1,500. Right? Nothing's changed, just the economy. But if you were in a home, you don't have to worry about that.
I didn't even think about that. Like the mortgage doesn't change, right? So you're right. I mean, like, so if you already budget, like, okay, I got to pay 2 G's a month, that's how it stays. But when you have an apartment, like you said, it could be $1,500 when you move in, but 5 years down the road, you're already paying $2,000 a month. You know what I mean? And it keeps,
right.
They don't put a new pool in there. You know what I mean? They're not putting new things in there, right? It just keeps going up.
Yeah, right.
You still can't park your car. There's still like, there's still, you have to park your car on the street and you got to walk in and guests hit you up.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Right.
I mean, I agree with you on that. Like if you're going to stay in town and you already like are going to start, setting your roots here or wherever you live, and you have the money to get a home, I think you should, because at the end of the day, you can leave. Just because you buy a home doesn't mean you're stuck there. You know what I mean? You can.
No, yeah, it doesn't.
I'm not a master at this. I don't know much about this. I'm just doing what I think. Like if you buy a home, like you said, first of all, the monthly mortgage doesn't change, right? So as long as you can budget for that, you're good. And the home value will go up. You know what I mean? Like potentially it's going to go up a little bit. So you are going to be able to, if you want to leave, you could sell it. You at least get your money back most of the time, right? Or at least something. Right? You're not going to go out losing most of the time. You could go out winning if you're lucky. And then, or you could rent it, move on, and then rent it. Some people rent their home and then they rent an apartment. I don't know. They still make more on the difference. I don't know what they do. People do. So it doesn't tie you down to where you're living. I think people just maybe like they're in a career that's maybe not set to like, maybe like, let's say they work somewhere, but maybe they don't want to work there forever. So they can't just buy a home there. You know what I mean? Because it could be only a 2-year thing, or it could be a 5-year thing. They don't want to just do all that, paperwork. So, I mean, I don't know. You try to Google it, right? Like, when's the right time to buy a home? And I guess I kind of read something where it was like, oh, did you go away? Can you see me?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I kind of read something where it said, if the mortgage is less than rent, average rent. And honestly, where we live, my mortgage was way less than the rent for an apartment. Because we set it up that way. It's like so I wasn't gonna rent an apartment knowing that I have to leave there one day anyways, like you said. And like most people say, you're throwing away money, because you are. Like you're pretty much taking that $1,500-$1,600, and it's like, you know what I mean? You're not seeing any value to that.
It's gone. It's not nothing. Nothing
comes from it. You just get to sleep there for 30 days. But when you put it towards a home or a property, like you're putting the money there, and it's like at least you're cutting a little bit into it. You know what I mean? But it's yours.
Yeah, it's an investment. A home is an investment.
So what do you think, like the average age, like you're kind of dealing with the customers that kind of hit, or clients that hit you up, how old are they, or, what's their background? What do you think?
What is their what?
You can't hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, what'd you say?
I was saying, what's the average, average age of someone that's hitting you up to buy a home? Like how old are they?
Oh, Oh man, no, it's I mean it's all over the spectrum. I have, 60-year-olds. I got